Hey everyone, what's going on? Welcome to the channel and thank you so much for taking your own time out to check out this movie review, where I've got to give a big thank you to Laurie at Biscuit Media for the early screener to a movie that's coming on VOD, DVD and digital on August 16th, and that is called The Mulligan, which is very similar to its actual name of the novel, but the novel's called The Mulligan, A Parable of Second Chances, and that is actually written by Ken Blanchard and co-written by Wally Armstrong. I've never read the novel, so I can't comment on if that is very accurate to this movie or what changes they made in the process. I'm going into this fresh and open-minded. The movie itself is directed by Michael O'Shabale, if I've got that correctly, and I've never seen any of this guy's works before. He's done a couple of features and a couple of shorts, but we'll certainly talk about more of his directing in a moment. The cast in here includes Eric Close, Tanya Christensen and Pat Boone. Now, I've seen some of these actors and actresses in previous works before, so at least I had a bit of familiarity to them going into this movie, so that was also awesome to see them here once again. And if you're wondering, okay, well, what is the Mulligan all around? Well, it's essentially around a character called Paul McAlister, who seems to have it all. His life is going great until his life starts to not go so great. However, one day when playing golf, he comes across a person called the old pro Will Dunn, who is played by Pat Boone, and as he slowly learns and gets to know Will Dunn, his life seems to kind of change and things start to happen, and it actually is kind of giving him a chance to have a second chance on and off the golf course. So yeah, I was very intrigued by The Mulligan because, being honest with you right now, I have zero clue about golf. Yeah, I've never played it in my life. I don't watch it on TV, so I'm not familiar with the subject matter of golf for that matter, but I've gone into other movies based on other sports in the past, and I've kind of learned a little bit about them and just took those movies for what they were, so that was the exact same principle going into The Mulligan. And what can I honestly say about this movie? Well, I'm going to be honest with you, I was very pleasantly surprised and I actually really enjoyed this movie. So let me tell you why I enjoyed it when I cover my positives. So the positives of this movie: Eric Close, who plays Paul McAlister, did a fantastic job in this role. He had moments where he played not a great person in the slightest, and he also had moments where you could kind of root for his character. So he definitely managed to balance both personalities he basically portrays in this movie. And ultimately, at times you don't like his character, and at times you're kind of rooting for his character. And that all comes down to how Eric played that role of Paul McAlister. So I've got to give big props to where it was. And I've got to say, all around, the acting is pretty good here. Pat Boone, I thought, was great as Will Dunn for the parts we get him in this movie. We don't get a lot of him, but the parts that we do, I thought that he did a great job. And he was a likable guy, a likable character, and you could kind of get round his character and kind of root for him also. Tanya Christensen, she doesn't have a big role. You know, the main focus here is on Paul McAlister, as it should be, as it's his story. But yeah, Tanya Christensen doesn't have a big role, but the part that she does play as Paul's wife slash ex-wife, yeah, I thought she did great in that kind of mom role and supporting her son and supporting Paul at times, or kind of conflicted in her mind because this marriage isn't exactly stable. It is very rocky, and we learn a little bit about that throughout the movie and the course of the duration, about that like kind of rocky marriage lifestyle that they've got and kind of what's happened in the past, a bit topsy and turvy events, etc. So the movie definitely gives you a lot in terms of character development in some areas for sure, especially with Paul McAlister. Definitely a conflicted guy and an emotional guy as well. Let's just say that. I've also got to give a big praise here to the cinematography, which was done by Douglas Miller and Michael O'Shabale's directing. So I've really got to praise the fact that this is on-set locations. The camera work here is shot beautifully. The picture itself is just so clear and so vibrant. I really enjoy that, and I could be soaked into that atmosphere. And I also felt like I learned a lot about golf, which is pretty cool if I ever want to take it up. Not saying that I actually will, you'll catch me on a golf course anytime soon, but I still feel like I learned a lot from that, and that is great to have. I've also got written down on my notes here that we also get a cameo from a PGA professional, Tom Lehman. Don't know who he is, I couldn't tell you, but yeah, he has a cameo in the movie, and we also get another cameo of a broadcasting legend, Jim Nance, who, again, I don't know who that is, but I want to reference those both for this review. So I'm sure any golf enthusiasts out there will know exactly who these two people are immediately. And what I would also say as well is, if you are a golf enthusiast, I think that you will find and enjoy this movie. This is a faith-based movie, so anyone who is of that faith, you will very much enjoy this movie, as it is a very powerful message. And the message in general, even if you took the religion side out of it, of the second chances, anyone can relate with that specific message. And I think that message is really conveyed really well in this movie. And you know, time, it's never too late. You can always try, you can always make amends or fix any broken relationships. And I think that message was really strong in its portrayal as it comes across and plays out throughout the movie. And I really, really enjoyed that. So I've got a lot of positives for this movie. I've got a few little minor negatives that I want to quickly touch on here. And the first one being the music that's used in this movie at times. Now, don't get me wrong, there's some great songs played throughout this, especially in the credits and especially at points in this movie. What I would have liked to have seen from Rod Portiff, who did the music for this movie, is there's certain times where scenes are completely quiet. Now, it's not as if it's like a very tense scene between two people maybe having a disagreement, and you know, you've got that kind of no sound effect there whatsoever, or music in the background, and you know, you just want to hear the two people talking. There's times where there's like even casual scenes where throughout the movie we get music in the background, which is portrayed really well, and then there's times where we get zero music. And I felt like there was some scenes here that could have done with a little bit of music just playing over like subtly in the background like the rest of it, and I think it would have just evened out the composition a little bit there. So I would definitely say that was like a little minor nitpick really, but that definitely did show up in here. There was one music choice that I wasn't really too fond of. There's a scene where involving the golf course a little bit later on in the movie. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to give away any spoilers. And I will also add here that I would have liked to have seen what this movie could have accomplished with maybe a bit of a bigger budget also. Because I feel at times there may have been a couple of times where there's like budget constraints held little elements and scenes back in this movie. But besides that, I had a good time with the Mulligan. I was very pleasantly surprised. And I would actually say I would rewatch this movie again. I actually did really, really enjoy it, and I hope that you get a chance to check it out on August 16th when it lands on DVD, VOD and digital. I know that it did have a successful theatre run around about April of this year, if I'm not mistaken. So if you have seen the Mulligan, leave any and all comments below if you are going to check it out. Also, please leave any comments so we can continue discussion down there. But as for my overall final score for this review, my overall score for the Mulligan is a 7.5 out of 10. So if you've enjoyed this review, please give it a big thumbs up, and if you're brand new to the channel, please press the red subscribe button down below, or if you're returning and you're not subscribed, please also press that red button down below so I can see you again on a future review. But until the next time that you see me, I'll be seeing you later.